Assalamu alaikum fam, hope you're doing well. Let's continue our reading of Sahih Bukhari. And we are in the Book of Wudu. Let's begin. Volume 1. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Chapter 56. What is said regarding washing out urine? And the Prophet, peace be upon him, remarked about the person in the grave that he never saved himself from being soiled with his urine. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, mentioned only the urine of human beings. Narrated Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, whenever the Prophet, peace be upon him, went to answer the call of nature, I used to bring water with which he used to wash his private parts. Narrated Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet, peace be upon him, once passed by two graves and said, These two persons are being tortured not for a major sin to avoid. One of them never saved himself from being soiled with his urine, while the other used to go about with calumnies to make enmity between friends. The Prophet, peace be upon him, then took a green branch of a date palm tree, split it into two pieces, and fixed one on each grave. They said, O Allah's Messenger, why have you done so? He replied, I hope that their punishment might be lessened until these branches become dry. Look at that, nice. Chapter 57. The Prophet, peace be upon him, and the people left the Bedouin undisturbed till he finished urinating in the mosque. I remember that. Narrated Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, saw a Bedouin urinating in the mosque and told the people not to disturb him. When he finished, the Prophet, peace be upon him, asked for some water and poured it over the urine. Chapter 58. The pouring of water over the urine in the mosque. Narrated Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, a Bedouin stood up and started urinating in the mosque. The people caught him, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, ordered them to leave him and to pour a bucket or a tumbler of water over the place where he had passed the urine. The Prophet, peace be upon him, then said, You have been sent to make things easy for the people, and not sent to make things difficult for them. Narrated Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said as above, Hadith number 220. Spilling of water over the place where there is urine. Narrated Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, a Bedouin came and passed urine in one corner of the mosque. The people shouted at him, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, stopped them till he finished urinating. The Prophet, peace be upon him, ordered them to spill a bucket of water over that place, and they did so. Chapter 59. The urine of children. Narrated Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, the mother of faithful believers. A child was brought to Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and it urinated on a garment of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, asked for water and poured it over the soiled place. This one I really like because it shows you the humility. Like, he's a brave warrior, our Prophet, peace be upon him, but he didn't order the death penalty upon the little baby, and he just dealt with it. It's really interesting. I really like that one a lot because it's like he could have been cruel, he could have done whatever he wanted. Like, imagine Caligula of Rome. He probably would have dashed the kid's head against the rocks or something awful. But our Prophet's like, hey, didn't have the diapers, some of the little ones. And it happens, It's just like, you just put some water on it and you deal with it, right? Little cute kids. Narrated Qais bint Mihsan, may Allah be pleased with him. I brought my young son, so woman, sorry, may Allah be pleased with her. I brought my young son, who had not started eating ordinary food, to Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, who took him and made him sit on his lap. The child urinated on the garment of the Prophet, peace be upon him, so he asked for water and sprinkled it over the soiled area and did not wash it. So it's like a newborn. It's like an infant, That's when they just have they're just drinking milk. So it's quite different smell and overall bacteria and stuff. And they can't help it, the little ones. Chapter 60. To pass urine while standing or sitting. Narrated Hudayfa, may Allah be pleased with him. Once the Prophet, peace be upon him, went to the dumps of some people and passed urine while standing. He then asked for water, and so brought it to him, and he performed ablution. So here you have one of standing. Chapter 61. To urinate besides one's companion while screened by a wall. Narrated Hudayfa, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, and I walked till we reached the dumps of some people. He stood, as any one of you stands, behind a wall and urinated. I went away, but he beckoned me to come. So I approached him and stood near his back till he finished. Chapter 62. To urinate near the dumps of some people. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, may Allah be pleased with him, used to lay great stress on the question of urination, and he used to say, if anyone from Bani Israel happened to soil his clothes with urine, he used to cut that portion away. Hearing that, Hudayfa said to Abu Wali, I wish Abu Musa, didn't lay great stress on the matter. Hudayfa added, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, went to the dumps of some people and urinated while standing. So here we have standing, and it's in the dumps. Chapter 63. The washing out of blood. Narrated Asma, may Allah be pleased with her. A woman came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and said, if any one of us gets menses in her clothes, then what should we do? He replied, she should take hold of the soiled place, rub it and put it in the water and rub it in order to remove the traces of blood, and then pour water over it. Then she can offer salah prayer in it. Yes, essentially, right, wash it out, which makes absolute total sense because you definitely don't want blood all over your clothes. Narrated Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, Fatima bint Abi Hubaysh came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and said, O Allah's Messenger, I get persistent bleeding from the uterus and do not become clean. Shall I give up my salah prayer? Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, replied, no, because it is from blood vessel and not the menses. So when your real menses begin, give up your salah, and when it has finished, wash off the blood, take a bath, and offer your salah. Hisham, the sub-narrator, said that his father added, the Prophet, peace be upon him, told her, perform ablution for every salah prayer till the time of the next period comes. Yeah, I remember her, and then he gave her like instructions of like how she has to do ghusl. Chapter 64. The washing out of semen with water and rubbing it off when it is dry, and the washing out of what comes out of women, i.e. discharge. Narrated Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, I used to wash the traces of Jannabas semen from the clothes of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and he used to go for salah prayers while traces of water were still on it, water spots were still visible. So here, this is something unique. You as a wife, you're going to have to do laundry like that. I think today some people, they should think about, do you love someone enough to do their laundry? Like do something like that? Because it's going to be one of your duties. Right? So, I mean, I prefer, you can, depends how you're going to split the clothes. But some people, they get a dry cleaner, or you never know. Sometimes you take turns. A lot of couple have schedulings on how they decide to do the laundry. If both people work, sometimes each one does their own, and then they take turns on the kids. There's so many different ways people do it now. But I think that a cool way of knowing if you really like somebody is if you would be willing to wash out the traces of Jannabas from their clothes. What do you think? Narrated Sulaiman bin Yasar. I asked Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, about the clothes soiled with semen. She replied, I used to wash it off the clothes of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and he would go for salah prayer while water spots were still visible. So that kind of just shows you how he didn't have like a huge, gigantic wardrobe, it appears. And sometimes it's just like, hey, can you please wash this? I gotta go pray. So that's interesting. I wonder if she didn't have a designated laundry day. Chapter 65. If the traces of Jannabas, semen, or other spots are not removed completely on washing. Narrated Amr bin Maymun. I heard Sulaiman bin Yasser talking about the clothes soiled with semen. He said, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, I used to wash it off the clothes of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and he would go for the salah prayers while water spots were still visible on them. So again, thinking just of how it dries and stuff. Narrated Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. I used to wash the semen off the clothes of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and even then I used to notice one or more spots on them. Chapter 66. What is said about the urine of camels, sheep, and other animals, and about their folds. Abu Musa offered prayer at Dar-il-Barid post office, and there was animal dung in it, though a vast strip of land was near it. Abu Musa said, both these places are similar for offering of the prayers. Narrated Abu Kilaba, Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, said, some people of Ukul or Urine tribe came to Al-Madinah, and his climate did not suit them. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, ordered them to go to the herd of milch camels and to drink their milk and urine as medicine. So they went as directed, and after they became healthy, they killed the shepherd of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and drove away all the camels. The news reached the Prophet, peace be upon him, early in the morning, and he sent men in their pursuit, and they were captured and brought at noon. He, peace be upon him, then ordered to cut their hands and feet, and it was done. And their eyes were branded with heated pieces of iron. They were put in al-hara, and when they asked for water, no water was given to them. I mean, I support it. You're mean, man. You drove all those things away. You killed just the poor little guy after he let you get some milk and, stuff that you needed. Man, it's just mean. Poor guy. He's just probably some innocent little shepherd, had no idea what was going to happen. Abu Kilaba added, those people committed theft, murder, became disbelievers after embracing Islam, murtadeen, and fought against Allah and his messenger, peace be upon him. I like it though that he got tough on them. Psst, branded the eyes. Ah. Narrated Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, prior to the construction of the mosque, the Prophet, peace be upon him, offered salah prayers at sheepfolds. Chapter 67. An-najasat, impure and filthy things which fall in cooking butter or ghee, which is obtained by evaporating moisture from butter and water. So here it has an explanation. An-najasat, impurity or impure things, is either A, physical, or B, spiritual. A, physical as regards urine, stool, and sexual discharge. B, spiritual as regards not having belief in oneness of Allah and his messenger, Muhammad, peace be upon him, e.g. al-mushrikun. Okay, the pagans, idolaters, disbelievers. Duri said, there is no harm in using water if its taste, odor, or color is not changed. Hamad said, there is no harm if the feathers of dead birds fell in it. About the bones of dead animals like an elephant. Oh, cool, an elephant. Azuri said, I met some of the old learned religious men who were using them bones as combs and containers for oiling, etc., and they found no harm in that. I like this one because I like looking at bones and it's really cool. I want to have a bone thing, but there's a lot of, you can have a bone handle in your knife. It's very cool. Ibn Sirin Ibrahim said, there is no harm in the trade of ivory. Oh, nice. Narrated Maymuna, may Allah be pleased with him, Allah's messenger, peace be upon him, was asked regarding ghee, cooking butter, in which a mouse had fallen. He said, take out the mouse and throw away the ghee around it and use the rest. Narrated Maymuna, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet, peace be upon him, was asked regarding ghee in which a mouse had fallen. He said, take out the mouse and throw away the ghee around it and use the rest. So you think if it fell in, if it's bleeding and it doesn't have things going on it or visible maggots, parasites, I think you'd be alright. Ghee is very thick. And you could probably see like where he fell. So you could like, okay, let's slice it over here. You know, ghee is hard to get, so it's hard to manufacture. Today, I think you could be like, oh, just go to the store. But in this time period, that's not always an option. Narrated Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, a wound which a Muslim receives in Allah's cause will appear on the day of resurrection as it was the time of infliction. Blood will be flowing from the wound, and its color will be that of blood, but the smell of musk perfume. I remember that. That's also in the Book of Jihad in chapter 5 of volume 3, I think it is. Chapter 68, urinating in stagnant water. Oh yeah, you're not supposed to do that, remember? Narrated Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, we Muslims are the last people to come in the world, but will be the foremost on the day of resurrection. The same narrator told that the Prophet, peace be upon him, had said, you should not pass urine in stagnant water which is not flowing, then you may need to wash in it. Exactly, which is totally freaking smart. Too many times you see people fishing and stuff like that in places where they dump their garbage, they put their feces. It's like they have no sense of mind. You see that a lot with the polytheists. In some places, it's like, geez, like, think with your brain. You know, like, why are you doing that in the water that doesn't move? It's so bizarre. It's almost like they have to be told. Because running water, it passes, you know? It's like, think about your own bathtub versus a shower. You feel me? So, again, we learned a lot, fam. We got Maymuna, Abu Hurairah, mashallah.